Hello and welcome to the Manifest to Live Life Golden Show. This is episode 73, How to Prepare the Energy Field for the Manifestation of Your Dreams. Super exciting conversation. And the reason why is because I'm having these realizations about living our dreams and preparing for them. If we are not prepared for these dreams to come into our experience, they may come in and we either will miss them or we won't be prepared enough to solidify them. So, this preparation is going to be something that really activates the energy within you to live these dreams, to actually create what you say you want to create. It's really easy to just use words. Words, as much as they say words are powerful, they're not powerful if they don't have vibration backing them. Words are not powerful if you don't have some sort of activation. If you keep saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, it's not powerful enough. You're not taking on the identity of creating that energy within you, of creating that energy that actually works in the field. It works with universal orchestration to bring you opportunities. Listen, if you're sitting in your house and you're super depressed, or you're at your job and you're super miserable, not a lot of things are going to be able to come to you. They absolutely may. I've definitely created from chaos. I've created from fear. I've created from misery. Absolutely. But it comes hard and it comes slow. And it's not something that really is fun, as far as like taking the bull by the horns and really creating from a manifestational dream. It's really hard to do that when you're not in vibrational alignment. It does happen. It absolutely happens. But there has to be some sort of energetic flow, some kind of energetic alignment to that dream you say you want to live. So we've got to activate the energy. Okay, so you have a dream, okay? Maybe you don't have a dream. Maybe you're confused. Maybe you don't have a lot of clarity about purpose. And I'm not really in love with even the idea of purpose. What I'm in love with is living a life that is full of joy, living a life that you wake up every day and you feel fulfillment, living a life where everything that you say you desire, everything that you say you want is literally coming to fruition, not just in the physical, but in the energetics. You're starting to feel it. You're starting to ramp up towards it. So how do you feel about this dream or this little, maybe it's just a smaller thing that you're looking to manifest? How do you feel about it? Do you feel excitement towards it? Do you feel appreciation for it? A lot of times, and especially when people, let their dreams die, or they don't pursue a dream, they don't want it in their experience. It's like all of a sudden we get this new desire and we create misery through it because we don't believe we can have it, and B, we have no idea how to go get it. So that creates a bit of misery that actually creates an interruption in the field. It creates a dissonance in the field between what we want and what we are creating. So we have to clean up that energy field. Also, it's really important to know when we're talking about the spirituality of manifesting, there is a readying process that you are involved in right now. It's really important. I remember right before I moved to California, I had this amazing woman in my life, and she said to me, listen, you don't want to get to the party before it started, because if you get to the party before it started, you're probably going to have to, help out, or you're going to get bored by the time the party starts. You want to get there when the party is up and happening. And I totally understood that as I am in a readying process in this trip to California, this huge quantum leap of faith that I want like yesterday is happening. However, I need to create from a little bit of patience. And I'm going to talk about patience and impatience and what it does to the field. And patience isn't necessarily, the greatest word. I mean, patience is right, a virtue. Patience is, I remember hearing in a movie once, it was the one with Steve Carell and Morgan Freeman. And Morgan Freeman was God. And he said, if you pray for patience, God will give you more reasons to exercise your patience. And that always stuck with me. So patience, yes, is wonderful. It's more about allowing than it is about patience, because patience to me is almost like tolerance, like we're tolerating life until it comes, right? Allowing actually is more about activating. It's about allowing the energy that needs to unfold, allowing your process to come through, and allowing yourself to be prepared for that dream you say you want. Many of us have big, big dreams. I know I do. And in that process, everything that I'm doing up until right now, up until this very second, has been about preparation for the dream I say I want to live. So that's what the last, I don't know, maybe 10 years of my life has been about, because I have been stepping into this, using my voice, creating a YouTube channel, creating a podcast, writing books. It's all about sharing a message that I know is what I'm passionate about. And I'm passionate about it because I watch it change other people's lives, and I know how much it's changed mine. But if I wasn't prepared, if I was sitting in my house depressed and sad, and let me tell you, I did some of that. I definitely did some of that. It wasn't until I stepped into some sort of action, it wasn't until I took a step forward that I actually started to feel fulfillment and saw energy activating. And now opportunities are coming. It wasn't until I did that, I got out of that, what I believe is part of the process, going within, quieting yourself, spending a lot of time alone, formulating ideas, and then getting inspirations and working from those inspirations is actually what creates the connection to the infinite potential in the field when we're really working from intuition. Yeah, intuition is not going to be super strong if you don't have a meditation practice. My husband and I right now, he started meditating pretty regularly. I thought he did before, but now I'm like seeing him do it a lot. So that's awesome. And yesterday we had the craziest day, and I can't share everything that happened yesterday because, it's kind of like this big thing that's happening and I'm not ready to share it yet. And we actually had to drop our daughter off at LAX. She was going to Connecticut for a little trip to see her friends and her sister. And so we got up super early, and I had this inspiration the night before. And I said, hey, why don't we stop in Long Beach? We don't go to LA very much because we're about an hour with traffic, a couple hours. So I said, on the way back, why don't we go to Long Beach? We love biking around there. Why don't we stop there? We'll go to that great restaurant we love with the guy who plays the steel drums. We haven't done this in like 5 years. And we'll make a little day of it. And my husband was like, great idea. So interesting. He's following his intuition. Instead of putting the bike place in his GPS, he puts the restaurant in his GPS because he wanted to make sure he knew where the restaurant was. So we get to the restaurant, which was 20 minutes past the bike place. And we pull up to the restaurant. I'm not thinking anything. I don't know what the plan is. And we start talking about what we want to do. And then he puts the bike place in his GPS and realizes it's 20 minutes in the opposite direction of home. Well, we look in front of us and there are literally 2 bikes on the sidewalk. Now, all the cities are doing this now where they have scooters that you can rent. Now they have bikes you can rent. How cool is that? So you download the app, you put it in, they give you a QR code, you scan it, and it pops the lock off the bike and you can take the bike for, I think we paid $15 for a couple hours. Super cool that we pulled up and there's 2 bikes right in front of us. Like amazing, right? So we go for a bike ride in Seal Beach, not in Long Beach. And I fell in love with Seal Beach. I just love this place. I'm like, had hardly ever been there. We were there like in the very beginning. We've eaten at this restaurant a few times, but I never actually biked around and went to the beach and saw what Seal Beach was all about. People were so friendly. I felt like, I don't know, I was just, my vibration was super high and I was super just in the moment. And my husband and I were having a great time just biking around, and there was hardly any people because it was like 7:00 in the morning. So the bike place that we were going to probably wasn't even open yet. Right. So it's like everything working out for us. So then we're like biking along, and it's been about an hour and a half. And I'm like, man, I should have brought a snack. Like I didn't bring any snacks. I had a shake for breakfast. I'm like, I'm really getting hungry. Well, all of a sudden we come up on this little town, the little town of Seal Beach, where there's all these really cute shops. One of my favorite stores is there, and a coffee shop with muffins. So we got some coffee. We sat down, we had a muffin. I'm like, this is amazing. This is incredible. So we end up biking back, and we're biking all around these parking lots and around the restaurant. And we still have like an hour and a half left before our reservation because we really wanted to see the steel drums guy. So my husband's like, well, do you want to keep biking? I'm like, well, my butt's kind of sore. Let's put the bikes away. Let's go for a walk, and we'll walk around the yachts. There were a whole bunch of yachts. This was like on a bay. So Alamitos Bay was the name of it. So we walk down and we see this incredible boat, this gorgeous boat. It's all wood, it's all teak. And it was so, I mean, it looks so old. So we're standing there and we're both staring at this boat. And we both start asking questions in our mind, right? Like, I wonder how old this is. I wonder what the history is. Well, all of a sudden, we see this person inside cleaning the boat, and they see us and they come out. And it's this gentleman who owns the boat. And he gives us the whole history of the boat. It was actually owned by the lady who was part of the Post family, the cereal company. And it was an incredible story of how he obtained the boat. And he was an incredible man. And I am still kind of whirling and reeling from meeting him. And, there may be more to come on that story, but it was so cool. And my husband and I talked about just how everything unfolded and how we listened to our intuition and how that day, everything was in alignment with what we wanted. And we were manifesting as we were going along, including meeting probably one of the most interesting men, maybe the most interesting man I've ever met in my life. I mean, his life story was unbelievable, amazing. So when you're working from that intuition, when you're super tuned in, when you spend time quieting your mind, that intuition starts to turn up, and then your mind isn't going to talk you out of things. Your mind is actually going to settle behind the intuition, and you're going to be able to move from intuition, which is co-creating with the universe. It's allowing the universe to orchestrate with you, where you're, locking arms, you're locking energy with it, and opportunities are surfacing all around you. Now, the opportunities that may come to me from this experience, I am really glad I'm prepared for, and I have a little more preparation that I'd like to do to really allow this manifestation to come to fruition. And the really cool thing is the excitement that we get when things manifest, right? But often we don't take the time to celebrate those. So today I'm in a little bit of celebration. Yesterday I was definitely in some celebration and just kind of awe about life and how it really is. Your life can change in a second. I think that's what I'm really realizing is, and I'm recognizing the difference between how I used to manifest when I first came upon the law of attraction and I first started wanting to manifest, or I had these desires. They were very surface and they had a lot to do with money. And now that I am settling into this spiritual way of manifesting and really working in the science and the foundations of it, I'm realizing that there is a deeper calling here for me. And in that deeper calling is where all of my wishes are fulfilled. And they're not so surface anymore. They're more about that life and vitality and energy and passion. It's more about that. And so when it comes to your dream, you first have to ask yourself, I think where I'm at now is there's no misery, there's no lack in it. There's only this very subtle and quiet knowing of where I'm going. Okay. So you have this, you can either be in doubt, you can let your mind talk you out of things, you can be in misery about it, which creates a space between you and the manifestation. You're not in alignment with it if you're in misery about it. You're also not totally in alignment with it if you're putting it way out into the future. You've got to pull it in and ask yourself, if I want to do that incredible, amazing thing in my life, what do I need to prepare the energy field right now? What can I do to get ready to be ready for this manifestation of this dream? Because if I'm not ready, and funny enough, this came up today. I was thinking about people who weren't ready to manifest. And I always use the lottery as an example when people win the lottery and they lose all their money and they end up owing the government money because they didn't know how to manage it. That's one example. Another example I was thinking was Milli Vanilli. This is so funny. So I saw a funny meme the other day about Milli Vanilli and how they must be really pissed about TikTok. And I thought that was really funny because now people are literally making money from lip syncing, right? But Milli Vanilli wasn't necessarily in alignment with their dream, and that's why their dream fell apart. So they were acting as if, but they didn't necessarily have the foundations of the true talents and gifts that they were promoting. And that's why that dream fell apart. So you don't want to get into a situation where your energy field is not prepared for the success. You want to get yourself ready, and you want to ask yourself, what can I be doing right now to get ready for that? What energy are you sending to your dream? Do you not even feel like it's remotely possible? Do you not even dream? Do you just go to work every day and come home? And we watched this show on Prime recently called Forever, and it was really interesting. It was a little bit of a weird show, but the meaning of it was so interesting. And it was about, like, what is this all for, and what is the point, and are we just waiting to die? And that was such an interesting. I'm like in the depths of the message of the show. I love shows that make me think, and it was a little weird and quirky, but it was interesting when you think about it. It's like, what exactly? And it was about these people who actually, I won't spoil it for you, but check it out if you're interested. Forever. And what are we doing? What are we doing? Are we afraid to dream? Are we afraid to live? Are we just sitting around waiting? Because all of those things don't necessarily activate energy for us. So start asking these questions. Get really curious about what brings you passion and joy, because before you know it, you literally could be living a life where you are creating incredible abundance through doing what you love. You can literally make money doing anything. Seriously. I just heard about a seminar that this woman was doing to teach women how to flirt. And she had about 10 guys come in and volunteer to help these women open up and become vulnerable and start flirting. And I thought, you literally can make money doing anything, for real. So if there's something that is calling to you, something that you find valuable, something you find that would be purposeful in the world, start asking yourself how you can share it. I mean, you can start doing posts on Facebook every day. You can start doing stuff on Instagram every day. These are simple ways to activate the energy. I have been posting daily on Facebook for years, because I have these messages coming through me. And now it's starting to build a following and starting to build a community of people who are attracted to it. And let me tell you, in the beginning, it was slow go. And it really wasn't even about that in the beginning. It was really more about, and it's not even really about that now. This message is so important to me, and I want to share it with as many people possible so that people can understand they have the power to create. All right. So how do you feel about it? What energy are you sending to it? Do you actually feel like it's even possible? Are you okay? As you up level, life helps you to gain clarity. This is the really super important part about spiritually manifesting. Life is giving you contrast. Life is giving you these reasons to clarify your desire. So if you're in a bunch of shit right now, it's good, because you're actually clarifying what you want to do. If you're in a crappy job and you absolutely hate it, it's okay. You can quit if you want to. You absolutely can. But if you're scared to and you're not ready to, then don't do it. You have to be ready. You have to feel the determination. You have to feel the inkling to do something else. So don't quit your job if you're terrified to quit it. I mean, you can quit it terrified, but you're probably going to have a pretty bumpy road, and it's going to be a little chaotic. And I don't recommend manifesting that way, but I will say it was how I did things. And it turned out okay. Everything worked out really well. All right. So, this is how we pull ourselves away from what we want. And this is how we deactivate the field or slow the energy down. Okay. So, you're not providing any action. You're just thinking about it every day. Visualizing, yes, visualizing works. It's really important to envision, though, where you're allowing the feelings to spark up. You're allowing, when you're in meditation, you start to visualize, you're allowing higher consciousness to give you these pictures, which literally you have the ability to manifest. So that's awesome and really great. However, I don't believe a sports car is going to show up in your driveway if you're just sitting in your chair all day trying to manifest stuff. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Prove me wrong. Please, someone prove me wrong. You got to activate the energy. You got to know what you want, and you got to do things towards that. All right, feeling misery and doubt. And one thing I want to touch on really briefly in that misery and doubt Impatience a lot of times activates doubt. So when things aren't happening, when we don't see energetically what's going on, remember it takes time for the energetic to break down into the physical and become matter. It takes time for that wave to become particles and become matter. During that time, are you slowing the wave down or are you speeding it up? You slow it down with impatience. You slow it down with doubts. You slow it down with talking yourself out of stuff that you felt excitement for before, but because you don't see anything happening, you get discouraged. And a lot of people quit. I've seen a lot of podcasters quit. Like I'll go to like try, work to be a guest on their show and they're not doing their show anymore. And I think a lot of that is because either maybe it stopped fulfilling them or they were doing it for numbers. And if you're doing a podcast for numbers, and to make money in the beginning, I just feel like it's going to taint the energy. I'm doing this podcast absolutely for fun. Yes, of course, I want to make money, but because I want to share the message, and that has to be the driving force behind a lot of things that we do. Is that fulfillment piece, because that fulfillment piece is currency and it aligns you with abundance when you are fulfilled, when you're not going out to get, right? Like I'm not giving to get from this show. And sometimes I get a little triggered by that. And recently, and I totally believe it's because of my network marketing background, because I did for 7 years, I was in network marketing and a lot of my giving was to get. And a lot of my relationships were based on working to get people in my business. And as much as I tried to justify that and feel authentic about it, one of the major reasons I left network marketing was because of that, because I didn't feel like I could be my authentic self and sell products or a service I was selling. I couldn't figure it out. And I honestly and truly, it would be awesome if I could have, but because I still love this company to this day, I adore the company. I think it's an amazing company. I just couldn't align my authenticity with wanting people in my business. I just couldn't do it. So if you're out there, if you're in network marketing and you're out there just to get, uh, it's not going to work well for you. If you're inboxing people that you don't know, that you've never built a relationship with, I'm going to tell you, stop wasting that energy. And a lot of times you're probably hitting people and ticking them off, or they're not answering you. Waste of energy. Build relationships with people, love people, be real, be authentic, and that will help you create a successful business. When it comes to putting your energy field in a place that you feel like is going to manifest wonderful things for you, you often have to interrupt the doubts. You have to interrupt the misery. You have to interrupt the impatience. So back on the note of me getting a little triggered, I I had someone in my group, my Manifest to Live Life Golden group. And if you're not in there, get in there on Facebook. It's where I share my posts every day. And sharing my posts every day, I have to tag at everyone so everyone can see it, or else no one sees it. Like a couple people see it. And if you're in the Manifest to Live Life Golden group, I would think you'd want my messages. Well, there was a woman in there who didn't, apparently. She said my message was lovely, but she was triggered that I had tagged her. And I said, I just want you to know I'm not tagging you on your personal page. It just tags you to notify you that I posted in the group. It's not going to show up on your feed. And she left the group, and I actually put a post up and said, hey, if you don't want to be in the group, leave. It's okay. Like, we're not in alignment. I let you go. I wish you love. But I got triggered by that. And I got triggered because my motives are not about getting people. Yes, I want to grow the podcast. Yes, I want to grow the message. Yes, I want to become more. I want to speak. I want to share this globally. Absolutely. But the underlying message here is not manipulation. It's not about trying to get you. It's not about trying to sell to you. If anything, I'm trying to sell to you the belief in yourself, like for you to believe in yourself, for you to believe in your own power. So yeah, I get a little triggered about that. And I worked on it, did some healing work, and I journaled about it. And that's what came up. So hello, go me. Let's process. All right. So doing things that work against your dream, which is resistance or self-sabotage. Continuing to do everything else but preparing. So that's allowing everything else in your life to be an excuse of why you can't follow your dreams. Your family, your job, I don't have time. I've heard all these things. And we make time for what's important to us. We absolutely do. And when we say we don't have time, the energy field cannot open up time to us. So we've got to ask ourselves, where can I fit this in? Where can I fit in 15 to 30 to an hour a day of me working on preparing for my dreams? It's important. If it's important to you, it's important, right? If you really recognize, if you really believed you could live your dreams and you knew there was like 30 minutes a day that you needed to put towards that dream, and that dream was going to manifest very soon, you would do it. It's just like the lottery. If you knew you could go buy that ticket today, you'd win, everybody would go buy a ticket, right? All right. So fear, doubt, worry. So worry and fear and doubt always slow down the energy field. Feelings of unworthiness. And the thing about the feelings of unworthiness, you've got to go into the spiritual realm with this stuff. You've got to journal, you've got to heal, you've got to meditate and quiet your mind, because the feelings of unworthiness usually come from something we experienced in the past. And you're being called to heal and release that if that's what you're experiencing. Low level frequency and activities. So these are things like watching crappy TV. Hey, listen, I like TV. I watch TV every night, but I only watch TV at night when I just need my brain to rest before I go to bed. Drinking alcohol. I posted today in my alcohol free group about how many of us have sidestepped our dreams because we're trying to escape reality with a substance, alcohol, weed, pills, whatever it is, whatever the substance is that you're putting in your body. Keep in mind, I'm not like telling you not to do these things. I still have a drink every once in a while, but don't let it get in your way. Don't let it steal your joy. Don't let it dilute your focus. That's what happens with those substances is they're not great focusers, because when we're a little bit hungover or we're a little bit tired, it's really easy to cast our dreams aside. When we're high, I don't know, I haven't done that in like 25 years, but when we, take part in smoking pot, yeah, we feel good for a little while. Maybe we feel a little creative, but then you're lowering your vibration at the end of that. And maybe you don't believe that. And maybe that's not your experience, and whatever, what you do, you, but this has been my experience with it. And it's been my experience with other people, watching other people use. So low frequency activities, maybe give it up for a little while and see how you feel. 30 days, 60 days, whatever it is. See how you feel. See if your vibration raises. See if your focusing abilities get better. That's a great way to let yourself know. All right, so these feelings of unworthiness, I want you to pay attention to this and let me know, or let yourself know, if these are things that you're hearing. I'm not smart. Oh, yeah, I hear that sometimes. I'm not smart. What? Of course you're smart. The thing about being smart is we're smart in different ways. We're smart in different fields. Like if you were to look at me in math, you'd say she's not very smart. If you were to look at me in quantum physics, you'd say she's kind of a genius. I think she gets this stuff, right? So there's certain things that we are really skilled in and very smart in. And then there's other areas of our life that we're not so great in. This guy that I met yesterday who was super successful said he was a disaster in college. And I always find that very interesting. And we've heard story after story of people super successful that didn't do great in college. Now, if he had come out of college with the belief that he wasn't smart, he wouldn't have ended up doing all the fantastic things that he did. So you've got to let go of that one and find the areas that you're really smart in. I don't know how. That was a big one for me. I don't know how. I don't know how to build a website. I don't know how to podcast. I don't know how to have a YouTube channel. All these things are figure outable. Google it. Google that shit. It's so easy to just Google a question and get your answer and figure it out. Now, you may hit roadblocks. You may get anxiety. These are all things that are really good and healthy for your processing. So move through them, walk away, come back, Allow the energy, allow other people to help you if that's what you need. Hire people if you need to hire people. And if you don't have the money to hire people, then figure it out yourself. I definitely did not spend money doing this until recently, because I was like, I'm not going to spend money at something I'm not making money at. Until recently, within the last few years, I started to create an income that allowed me and made me feel really good about spending money on it. All right. Confusion, don't know what to do, escaping through substances, busying yourself with everything but. All right. So I covered all those. So those are ways we keep ourselves apart. Staying home and depressed. So when you stay home and you're depressed, you are in a lower field of energy where opportunity cannot find you. Opportunity is not going to knock on your front door while you're laying on your couch watching Netflix. I mean, it could. And again, if it happened to you, awesome. I would love to hear about it, but it's not activation of energy. Feeling imprisoned by your situation, if let's say you're doing something right now, like taking care of your parents, or, you've had to kind of put the pause button on life to do something that is noble and honorable and wonderful. Revel in that, be present to that, because everything is temporary. It's not going to last forever. And the more misery you feel about it, the less opportunity you're going to have to shift the energy field and to really enjoy life where you are right now. If you're taking care of people that you love, if you're spending time with little kids, if you're raising a family, just revel in that. Because I'm going to tell you from experience, it goes by so fast. It goes by like that. And then, when it's all said and done and you're free, we've got a level of freedom right now that we are both really enjoying. And when you get that level of freedom, the contrast between being in that situation for a long time and the freedom it's an up level, let me tell you. And then you feel amazing. But that's not to make you feel bad where you are right now. It's to say where you are right now is part of that process. And if you didn't process through this and spend time being present and enjoying, that's where opportunity lies. That's where the processing of becoming more and up leveling becomes. Let's see, where am I at? It's time to break free. Yes, people, it's time to break free from that feeling of bondage. It's time to break free from no longer living your dreams. It's time to break free into a new energy field. The energy field of infinite potential is always there for you. It's always available to you, but it doesn't necessarily activate anything if you are not in activation. I saw a funny quote yesterday about ships are meant to sail, but they won't do anything if they're just sitting on the beach, right? Like, you got to get in the water. You got to do something to activate that dream. And a lot of times you have to do something you don't necessarily love to find the thing that you do. And the reason for that is contrast. That contrast clarifies your desire, makes your desire stronger, and helps you to realize, okay, if I don't want to do this, what do I want to do? So that's the other side of the spectrum. So once you get out of the problem and that, I don't want to do this anymore, then you can move into, what do I want to do? If I could really choose what I do, what would it be? So this is identity creation at its finest. What can I do to prepare for this? What can I do to become more of who I say I want to be? If you've got these big dreams of becoming, I don't know, a movie star, if you want to become a movie star, what can I do to dress more like it, to act more like it, to talk more like it, to feel more like it? Feeling the feeling of abundance and truly believing in yourself and having that self-confidence is currency. It actually becomes abundance in our environment. It becomes money in our environment because we're in the vibrational alignment with flow. And that's what money is. It's an energy and it flows. You can listen to my last episode if you want to hear more about that. Okay, and how can I become super prepared for my dream? So I started thinking about this and over the years, the things that I've done. So I was part of a little local TV station for a little while. I was a guest host on that show and I interviewed people and it got me camera ready. Now, it was scary. And the first time I did it, I was scared shitless. There's no doubt about it. And I was probably kind of awful. And then I started to kind of get into a groove with it and I started to get better at it. And then when I started this show and the YouTube show, it's getting me more comfortable with being on camera. Actually, before this, I did M21, my M21 Revolution, which is on Facebook. We're just closing out a challenge. You can still be part of it if you join the M21 Revolution on Facebook. This challenge was epic. It was all about manifesting and law of attraction and becoming more and really up-leveling your spiritual manifesting in this life. So I started M21 and that started me doing videos on Facebook and I was in a private group. So I felt good because I was just like certain amount of people were able to see me. So it was preparing me for getting out of my comfort zone to do this. And then I did another podcast before this with someone, which I feel like was part of me integrating and becoming more and finally finding my confidence on my own and helped me to find out what I really didn't want so I could create what I really do want. So it was all part of the process. And if we don't say yes, if we don't take those steps forward, then we sit in an energy field of denseness and stuckness. And you're never stuck. I promise you, you're never stuck. Things are still manifesting along the way. That is the mind's mechanism to keep you safe and the same. So be careful with that. You've got to look at and take stock of how far you've come and how you've changed the way you think about things and how you've changed the way you respond. That is the best way to keep the energy field moving. It's not to go back and say, I'm still where I was 3 years ago. You absolutely are not. And if you really look at it from higher perspective and all that you've conquered and the way you feel about yourself today, you have not stayed stuck. All right, so how can I become super prepared for my dream? Interrupting negative thought patterns. I am doing this literally like today, like the doubt and I want this dream to come true right now, like the excitement of it and the vision of it and everything I'm feeling about this dream is massive. And it could spin me out a little bit because I get like overexcited and I'm really working on tethering my excitement, not pouncing on things, not feeling like, this is my big break. Because if I know deep in my heart, deep in my soul, that I am meant to do this and I am meant to bring this message to millions of people all over the world, it doesn't matter how I get there. And it doesn't matter when I get there. So all I have to do is keep preparing for it. And as I prepare for it, opportunities, synchronicities, and people are going to come into my experience and it's going to happen. There's no doubt in my mind. I absolutely have no lack. However, when something big happens and we start to doubt it and we start to say things like this could be too good to be true and, I'm afraid that I'm not qualified and all those things that will kick up that are really just part of your internal world that needs releasing and healing. Once you start to interrupt those negative thoughts and put a mantra in your mind, man, put a mantra in your mind. I am born for this. That's something I say often. I was born for this. I know who I am. What's some of the other ones? My new one right now is I am a millionaire. I just feels good to say that I'm a millionaire and I just picture it all. I just picture it all happening and flowing and becoming. And that is alignment, that feeling of goodness. Now, if you say I am a millionaire and you feel like crap about it and you're like, yeah, right, look at my bank account and you start making fun of it and you start feeling miserable from it, that's not going to help you. These mantras that we say are meant to interrupt and to raise our vibration and put us in another alignment. If they're doing the opposite, you're not ready for them yet. You got to clear the field first. You got to do some journaling and you've got to heal. All right, so releasing and healing those old wounds, realizing your true worth, that if you have a desire in your heart, you absolutely have the wherewithal to manifest it. It would be cruel for you not to. So it's absolutely coming. How can you step more in the belief of that? You've got to become more of it. When you become more of it and you just, align yourself and focus with that potential, then you're going to see evidence of it very quickly. Releasing and healing the old wounds that say, okay, here we go. So these are the old wounds that you may be dealing with. And I have an episode 58, I believe it is, about the shitty committee. In case you don't know what the shitty committee is. The shitty committee basically is your self-critical, self-hatred voices in your head. And most likely they came from somebody else, your mother, your teachers, your peers. Along the way, these things were put into your head. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? I love this one. Don't get too big for your britches and don't show off, right? Because we've been, casted as believing that the ego is so awful. And the thing about it is the ego is part of our personality. And yes, we need to keep ourselves in check, absolutely, and not getting too ahead of ourselves or too big for ourselves. But the truth is, a lot of it is confidence, and we've mistaken confidence for bragging. And anytime I do hang out with somebody and they're bragging about their life or their accomplishments, I do feel like there's a low self-confidence within that. But if you are getting yourself out in a bigger way and you are feeling a disconnect between yourself and allowing that light to shine, so you find yourself dimming your light, especially if you've had people in your life who have been jealous of you, shining that light has not showed you that it works out for you. So you've got to bypass these things and heal from them to actually start shining your light. I mean, if anybody should be dimming their light, it's me. I mean, hello. Just everything that I've experienced with people being jealous, being bullied, all of these things, shining my light was like the last thing I would think to do. And then when I realized that I had a voice and I had a message to share, that I had to work on. I had to heal. I had to quiet that mind. I had to walk through a lot of fears to get to where I am today and to keep going, to absolutely keep going. All right. All of us have some, traumas when it comes to shining our light, when it comes to really and truly living from our brilliance. We all have these, energies within us, the shitty committee voices within us that are going to make us doubt and make us feel like, oh, this isn't moving fast enough. Or you keep saying you're going to make money with this thing and you don't. And first of all, my husband and I talked about this yesterday, sharing your dreams with people is not a great idea. When we were moving to California, we did not share our dream with people. We didn't tell people until we were super ready to go, until we had the money, until we had the flight booked, because people will talk you out of it. They'll talk you out of your dreams. They will add resistance. Oftentimes they reflect your wounds inside, your fears inside. So that can talk you out of it. And if you let those fears be so deeply reflected that it talks you out of it, you won't move forward. What we did is we let those things reflect to us and create more determination. When somebody would say something that put us down or made us feel like we couldn't do this, we literally would get more determined and get a little pissed off about it. So you kind of have to do that to rise above it. All right. Pay special attention if you have ever suffered from very critical parents or teachers. Pay special attention to that shitty committee in your head, because most likely it will be their voices and not yours. And you can go, oh, Lord, that's not even me. I don't have to believe that because that came from somebody else who was completely disconnected with the truth of who they were and needed to shadow me. They needed to cast a shadow on my brilliance because my brilliance made them feel less than. It wasn't my fault, and now I can let it go. All right. So you ready for this? These are the greatest ways to step into living your dreams, the greatest ways. And every day, the clarity of this becomes more and more for me. I am seeing it more and more. And I'm like, oh, this is how we do it. This is how we do it. So interesting. Before you learn to do something, I look at it like a grid. So when something new comes into my experience and I have to learn something, say it's like, I'm trying to think, just like a new program or something new that we need to figure out. Maybe you get a new cell phone or a new car and you need to figure it out. And we have this moment of confusion and maybe a little bit of anxiety, and we have to work through that. And then the grid starts to fill in. And when the grid starts to fill in, we start to figure out how to do something. I remember I was doing this. I was making a chunky blanket. I don't know if you've ever made one. Oh my God, I made this giant chunky blanket. And it was a whole tying knots process. And I remember in the beginning, I didn't really get it. And I was with a group of women and I felt a little anxious. And then I started to breathe through it. And then I really got it. And then I was like, wow, the grid is filling in. I really understand how to do this now. So that's what happens. We're over here trying to figure things out. We've got anxiety. The anxiety blocks our wisdom. So we got a deep breath. We got to get up, walk away. We got to meditate. And then trust that wisdom, that we are connected to infinite intelligence that can send us all the information or send us the people to help us through it, and the grid will fill in. I think we can stop ourselves a lot of times by thinking, I'm not good at that, or I can't figure that out. Man, the computer was a big one for me. I only knew how to do email and Facebook. And now I can tell you, I know how to do a lot of things on the computer, and I'm still getting better at it. I'm still working on it. And, still sometimes the computer is not my friend, and I have to make peace with that. And then sometimes I have to re-record things and I have to make peace with that. And it's like, whatever, I'm not going to create a bunch of resistance around it. I'm just going to keep moving and learn what I can do and what I'm great at and what I'm not. And eventually I'm going to just hire people to do this for sure. But knowing how to do it is important. It's an important part of the process. All right. So these are the greatest ways. Meditate. I can't say that enough. Your meditation practice is number one in getting in touch with your wounds and getting in touch with those lower energies and releasing them and activating that intuition in higher consciousness so that you can be in this field of potential at least once a day, where you let go of thought, where you let go of everything. And I don't care what your meditation practice looks like. Just work to create some sort of quiet and a break from the mind that becomes your bliss, because that is something that I do not like to ever miss. I'm super committed to it. And my whole family is meditating now. How cool is that? So freaking cool. And the energy of the house is definitely changing as a result. Let go and interrupt your doubts. So the biggest thing when it comes to manifesting something new, something different, is changing your response. So if something happens or it doesn't happen fast enough, your tendency would be to go into doubts, to go into unworthiness, to feel like it's not happening for you. Change the tendency. Interrupt the thought. I'm a millionaire. It doesn't matter. I am already experiencing my dream within myself. I know it's coming. I know it's coming. That difference between the lack of, I have to wait for it, or why isn't it here yet, is huge in the energetic field. It is huge in the manifestation field. So change your responses. Get hip about what's going on in your head. Get hip about what your tendencies are. If something happens that's not optimal and you're finding yourself running to a substance or running to the TV or running to depression, change the way you respond. You are in charge. You are absolutely freaking in charge of your emotional field. You are absolutely in charge of everything you are doing. It's just stopping yourself and becoming more conscious about the tendency and how you want to relate to it. If it's a substance you're going to give up, make a solid commitment. 30, 60, 90 days. Make a solid commitment and tick off those days and congratulate yourself and interrupt every thought that tries to drive you back to it. That's how you create a strong will. That's how you create a powerful experience where you are not subject to an addiction or an emotion or drama, and you start to become more because you're no longer a victim to these experiences. Heal and release all of your fears. So that means journaling. That means getting in touch with them. What am I really afraid of? The other day when I was getting triggered, I've been super triggered before about trying to get somebody. And I was in this group. It was like a private Facebook Messenger group to stay sober for a little while. And oh man, this guy accused me of trying to sell my products in there when I was inviting someone over to M21, which is a free group, by the way. Yes, it's donation-based challenges, but you don't have to pay anything, because I really, truly believe in the foundation of meditation in anything you're trying to create differently in your life, especially addiction, because most people don't know how to deal with their anxieties and their stress. So I mentioned the M21 revolution. We were just about to kick off another challenge, and this man attacked me. He was the one who started the group about trying to sell my products. And I was like, really, dude? Really? I guess you missed the word free in here. So I'm working on this. Obviously, I have a wound if I'm getting triggered that I need to clear about trying to get people and trying to manipulate, because that is not my spiritual gift whatsoever. I am here authentically and real. And I'm a giver. I'm definitely a giver. And yes, I charge for what I do. I mean, everyone in the world has to charge for what they do. It's called value. It's called exchange of value. So I left the group and I blocked him. And afterwards I thought about it and I was like, I wonder if I could have handled that differently. And maybe I could have, and I absolutely will the next time. So love and light to all those that do not resonate with my messages. I love you. I'll let you go because I don't need people here. I'm not trying to convince anybody of this. If you're in alignment with it, you come with me. If you're not, you go in a different direction. It's totally cool. I don't like dragging people. All right. So follow your intuition and watch the energy field. So your intuition is going to give you that little small voice. If you meditate, that voice will be a little bit louder. You will know when you don't follow your intuition. It's very obvious. And then you're like, oh, should, coulda, woulda. Don't do that. Just take it as, information for next time. And then next time, follow your intuition. If a thought comes into your head and it feels pretty strong, follow it. And then watch the energy field, because the energy field is unfolding. It is providing opportunities all the time. You are there's orchestration, universal orchestration. I'm like often like that. I can't make this shit up. Like we pull into a parking spot and there are literally two bikes in front of our truck. Like, what the hell? And the funny thing is, we have bikes at home and we now have this giant pickup truck. I don't know why we didn't bring our bikes. We didn't even think of that. You want to know why? Because of universal orchestration. The universe wanted to do this with us. The universe wanted to play and have fun and make it like, wow, two bikes right in front of our car. How freaking cool is that? And now we have the app for the cities. And I said to my husband, he goes, oh, we'll probably never use this again. And I go, I bet you we're going to use it a lot now. I bet you we're going to find these bikes all over the place. I freaking love biking. I think I love biking, I love roller skating, and I love riding horses. And I think the reason why, it's freedom. You feel so free when you're on these wheels and the wind is in your hair and you're next to the beach. And it's just like one of the best feelings. So I have a feeling that we're going to manifest more of that. So that's why we could have been like, oh, we shoulda, coulda, woulda brought our bikes and we would have saved $30. And it's like, no, it was way more fun this way. It was way more fun to pull up and go, wait, there's two bikes right there just for us. How cool is that? So watch that energy field. It is talking to you. It is telling you the directions to go. If you get this weird thought to go this way instead of that way, and you always go that way, go that way. There's something else in the other direction for you. If you get an intuition to call somebody, call them. If you get an intuition to go somewhere, go there. Listen to that voice. It will get louder. And the more you use it, the more you rely on it. Envision and feel. I love to do this once a day or so. A lot of times before I go to sleep. Neville Goddard does. He's back in the olden days, like back in the 40s, I think he was. But Neville Goddard talks about when you go to lay down to sleep, you're going into higher consciousness. When you bring that and when you envision right before you go to sleep, you are literally creating from that energy field all night long for like 7 or 8 hours. You're creating from that energy field. So you want to prepare your sleep. You want to get yourself in those visualizations and do it from a place of feeling. If it amps you up and gets you excited and you can't fall asleep, don't do it. I had a little bit of that going on last night. Do it first thing in the morning. I like being a little amped up first thing in the morning. So when I do my meditation, I'll do a few minutes. I'll see my beach house. I'll see my marble countertops. I'll see all those things, my swimming pool, my sunset, all the things that I'm looking to create. I'll see those things. I'll feel those things. I'll imagine myself there, looking out of my eyes at the potentials. That's how you start to create in the energetic field. Become your biggest cheerleader. Cheer yourself on. And if you're struggling with that, reach out to people who can cheer you on. Get in groups. Groups on Facebook can be so great for cheering people on. This sober group I'm in is amazing. They are so supportive and loving to the people who are looking to let go of alcohol. And it's interesting to watch the alcohol journeys and people that really struggle and really don't feel like they can even have one drink. And then the opposite of that, people that do pretty well with it and they just went in there to change the relationship, which I did. It's interesting to watch the vibrations and how the vibrations change as people let go of substance in their life. It's just so impactful. And because of that, it's alive in my experience. I haven't gone back to being a daily drinker in years, which I used to do. And when I joined 1 Year No Beer, which was 5 years ago, I joined 1 Year No Beer, and I've done a lot of long stints of not having alcohol in my life, and they've been wonderful. And I am in the best place I could possibly be with alcohol right now. I really feel like I have the power over it. I just never want it to have power over me. And again, this may change and it may just not even serve a purpose in my life. But I feel like I'm kind of getting the best of both worlds with it. But there are people that don't. And because I have kept this in my feed, in my experience, and I've cheered people on and people have cheered me on, it's energy, it's currency. So get yourself in some positive, amazing, there's tons of law of attraction groups. If you're not in Manifest to Live Life Golden, get in there. I put positive messages in there every day. Create your world, create your field, surround yourself with good stuff. When you do that, you have a constant feed to draw off of. If you're in negative groups, get the hell out of there. If you're listening to the news, turn it off. Listen to music. Music is like such a great vibration raiser. It really is. Be in joy whenever possible. Super important, because joy, appreciation, and love are your highest vibrations. So you put yourself in those frequencies, you let go of everything else, you allow yourself to see the sunset, you allow yourself to feel the sunshine on your skin, you find joy in those little moments of petting your cat or petting your dog or loving your kid or loving your spouse. Those moments of joy are currency that pay off big time. And that's really the biggest message here is like the more joy we feel, the more joy we live, the more joy we can create, because energy begets energy. So the more energy we put out there, the more energy we receive. So that's law of attraction in a nutshell. The more you give, the more you get, the more you put yourself in that experience of joy and love and beaming that signal of who you really are, that depth of well-being, the more you will receive it. I love that. All right. Not working. Let's see. When it's not working. Okay. So this is the allowing piece of it. So I love allowing so much more than patience, right? Because I said patience is like tolerating. Allowing is like receiving. You're putting yourself in the receiving mode. So as you've done everything you can do, I just did this recently, just today, I did this. I sent an email and I sent a message, and then I'm letting go and I'm allowing. And then other things came in today, which was interesting. But in that allowing thing, and then I'm interrupting, right? I'm interrupting the impatience and I'm interrupting anything that comes in that's doubt. And I'm riding high on the experience of allowing. And that's what you do. Allowing is letting go. It's letting go of fears. It's letting go of doubts. It's saying, I've activated energy. I've done everything I can do now. Now it's just allowing, it's receiving, it's putting myself in receiving mode. How do I do that? I do a podcast because it makes me feel good, right? Puts me in passion, puts me in joy. I work on my book. Oh my goodness, you guys. Whew, I got a new book coming. I'm revamping the old book and I got a new book coming out really well. I've got to edit it. I'm not even done with it yet, but it's exciting. And it gets me excited just thinking about it. Going to my coffee shop, working on my book. I love doing that, creating. Feel the excitement about what is coming, because it's coming. It's coming. If you have that desire, it's coming. And the more you can know that, not just believe it, but the more you can know it and settle yourself into that knowing, which means you don't go into the tendency and the old neural pathways and loops of doubt, the faster it's going to come. Appreciate what you have. I see a lot of people not doing this. And I really want to remind you, you have a lot. You have a lot. If you have a home, if you have food, if you have love, if you have people around you, if you have legs, if you have eyes, if you have ears. I mean, all of these things we so take for granted. So if you can start amping up the appreciation, you're putting yourself in a really super high vibration. Let go of lack, doubt, and misery by interrupting. Stop thinking it's too good to be true. Yeah, they say, I mean, that's a saying. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. I think I think a good idea with the that statement of it's if it's too good to be true, it is not necessarily if it's too good to be true. It's just doing your research and doing your homework. So if it looks really good, just do some research. Don't This has been one of my processes, is to tether my excitement and to not pounce on things, because I can do that and I can get myself disillusioned. And then when it doesn't work out, I get super disappointed. So tether your excitement and do a little research. Excitement is wonderful. It's a great vibration. But if you get overexcited and then you get disappointed, you're really going crazy here. You're up and you're down and you're up and you're down. If you can get a little more neutral about life and not get overexcited and way ahead of yourself, energetically, you're going to do much better, because you're going to be able to just kind of navigate, but you're also going to be a little more aware of truth and what's really happening underneath. And you're going to be more likely to research things and make sure everything's legit before you jump on things that may not turn out right for you. So tether your excitement. Yes, be excited. I love excitement. Don't tell everybody about your excitement. Don't do it. They'll talk you out of it. And tether it a little bit. Hold it close to your heart, like it's a little present. And then go in there for a little while and get excited, and then just let it go and allow and get in receiving mode. Yeah, so just tether your excitement so you don't get. There was a book out by Chris Prentice, and I always forget the name of it, Zen of Art of Happiness or something, but just look up Chris Prentice. He's got a lot of great books out there, and he is like a master of this. And he would just say, when things happen that may look really good, they may be good and then they may not, right? And then when things happen that are really bad, they may look really bad, but they may turn out to be really good. So because we don't really know, we don't have that crystal ball. Although my new saying right now, when I talk to clients or I talk to my kids or friends, is I have a crystal ball and it all works out for you. Because people need to hear that, because it is totally working out for you. Everything that you are working through right now is part of the contrast to clarify that desire to get you into the ability to manifest from the field. So if you really want to manifest from the field, change your responses. Allow yourself that time and that grace to process and become more. Prepare, activate that energy field and start to prepare. And then have a good time. Have a freaking good time. Because if you're not having a good time, what is the point? What is the point of all of this if you're not having a good time? So do more things that you enjoy, do more things that you love, be with more people that you love. Stop being so obligated and people pleasy, because that's just sucking your energy field. And really work from trust and faith that it's all coming, that if you have this dream, you have the wherewithal to experience it. I am living proof of this, and I'm excited to show you more, because there is definitely more coming. There's no doubt about it. So thank you. I also have a show on YouTube. If you don't know about it, you can like, share, and subscribe. That would be awesome. And the book is being revamped, and it's going to come out with a little more information. So I don't know if you want to rebuy that, because the book cover is really, really cool. Just redid the podcast cover art, so that is amazing. And please share this podcast with people that you think would resonate, you think it would help them. These messages are activating, they're up-leveling, they're here to help you remember who you are. So why wouldn't you want people that you're surrounded with knowing about it? All right. I love y'all. Peace.